successful to the next level. That's my responsibility now as champion, and I absolutely love it. I've trained my whole life for it. I've spent 17 years at it, getting to this point, and I'm ready for it. And I love the responsibility of being champion.
Even in your voice, it sounds like a maturity level for you. How has Drew McIntyre changed the first time he was in WWE compared to now?
I mean, according to everyone else, it's night and day. But, I don't think the in-ring was ever really, an issue. There were certain things I had to learn about relaxing and slowing down and, really telling the correct story in the ring. But I was fine when I was 21, straight from university. I came to America. I was literally in a university class in Claire. I was on SmackDown. I never really had a chance to grow up, I guess. And even though I was there for a few years and I learned so much, I just really never, took advantage of the opportunity I had. It was my dream job, and I allowed a lot of negativity in my life, which I really shouldn't have. And it wasn't until I was able to step away from the company, step outside the bubble, really process everything and think, all right, you've worked this long, this far. You can either give up right now and just go back to the real world. You've never had a real job, or you can apply what you've learned. You can grow up a little bit, and you can see how far you can take this. And I really did just cut out all negativities in my life. If you're an athlete, maybe don't drink for a start, and really focused everything into my job, give it 100%. And I really saw the differences in my work, my body, and my personal relationship. They just kept growing and growing. I learned so much, and I learned how to be a true top guy. How to build a company, be at the top of the card, and learn that it's just not what what you do in the ring means a lot. I believe that, but there's so much more to it. And I really learned all that stuff, and I'm back ready to go to get that opportunity to show the world now that I can be that top guy. It's really cool. And anybody that's out there, who's striving to get to my position, is perhaps allowing negativity in your life. Set your goal, block out all the crap, go for your goal, and you'll do it. Just look at Drew McIntyre, look at Jinder Mahal. We're the two guys that are perfect examples. You can achieve whatever you want.
And Drew, that's amazing because you mentioned both of you all, and you too were part of 3MB. And at the time, that wasn't one of the bigger triads, so to speak, in the company. But what did you take from being a part of 3MB? Was it a hard time for you? Was it a good learning time for you? Was it a fun time for you?
That was a fun time for me, for sure. And I think a lot of people were thinking I'd be upset considering what I was doing prior as Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion, etc. But the reality is I wasn't doing anything for a long time, and this gave me something to do, something completely different, which was the idea. Myself and Jinder were basically doing, a character similar to Heath. But we're all friends in real life, and it was just a lot of fun. And a lot of fans spoke up for me and said, oh, Drew should be doing something serious. And I appreciate that. But the reality is I was getting an opportunity to show a different side, and I was having fun with my friends. It was not the top of the card, but I was still on the show. I was still having fun. In the back of your mind, still, you've got these big goals. I want to be the world champion one day. I want to be, Hall of Fame level one day. But, it was a lot of fun, and I did learn a lot. And it really, gave me some time to, I guess, process all the lessons I've learned. But at the time that we'd been in CMB for a while, there was really no logical way to, shotgun me into a serious position. The best thing for both of us was to go away for a while, see what I could do, see if I could apply everything I learned and come back as that top guy material. So everything I've done along the way over the 17 years really built me into the man and the wrestler I am today.
And the proof is in the pudding. Jinder Mahal as the champion on SmackDown, and you're the champion NXT. I'll get to this and then we'll wrap this up. But Drew, you started wrestling at a young age. Is that correct? You were like 15 when you started training?
Yeah, 15. You see the UK scene right now, it's absolutely on fire. It's the top place in the world, and I've traveled everywhere and wrestled every country in the world, I can tell you. It's number one. I'm not being biased. When I started, there was nothing. I used to travel 12 hours when I was 15 on a train just to go to wrestling training, as often as I could, as often as my mom or my nana would give me, the funds to actually go. That's how I learned to wrestle, and then myself and a couple of guys started the Scottish wrestling scene, so that's where my roots lie, was trying to help build the modern-day British wrestling scene and to see where it's come to. That's pretty unbelievable.
Well, Drew, the wrestling, you trained, though, in England, not in Scotland, correct?
Yes, there was nothing in Scotland.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Right. Was that the reason? Because there was no wrestling, there was nothing where to train in Scotland, you decided, hey, if I'm going to do this, I have to go to England.
Yeah, and I traveled. There was no staying in England. It's not like I lived there. I was still at high school. I was 15 years old. I would take the train or the bus and travel the 12 hours just to go to wrestling lessons, because that was the one of two schools in the whole of the UK. And finally, I convinced my mother after 3 years to actually let me go. So I would literally go as often as I could, like every few weeks. I would be traveling down and going to that wrestling school, learning what I could learn, and then the final Scotland, and I basically showed wrestlers like Wolfgang, you might see in the UK division, that what I was learning in England, I was basically just passing on. We were all working together, trying to get better together. And eventually I started working shows across the UK, and that's really when I started learning, and really when we started growing the modern day British wrestling scene, which grew to where it's at today. Like, there was nothing at all.
Oh, it's changed so much. And Drew, that's interesting, because one thing I heard there, would you have started at 12 or 13? You were wanting to do it that early?
Well, to put it into context, when exactly Drew wanted to do it, I was trying to figure out ways when I was about 6, 7, 8. When I was about 10, I sent away to America for the Inside Secrets of Pro Wrestling by Dennis Brennan and Percy Pringle. The books told me to keep kayfabe, so I kept the 2 books inside a briefcase, locked with a combination, because I was keeping kayfabe. When I went to school, everyone would talk about the shows, and, I'm trying to watch how I word this, but, they were talking about it as if it was 100% a shoot legit. I knew the secrets, but I was keeping kayfabe by not revealing what I knew. So since I was 10 years old, I've been keeping kayfabe, and I kept those books locked in a briefcase, and I was looking for wrestling skills, and I couldn't find anything, and couldn't convince my mother until I was 15 years old. So yes, I was trying a very long time to become a wrestler, splits in her dinner.
That's amazing. And then obviously, as you start to progress, what did your family, what did your mom think, because you were becoming successful?
She was very happy for me, and my dad was as well, but his big thing was always just stay in school. Just no matter what you do, promise me you'll stay in school the whole time. And that was always what I told him. I'd said since I was literally 15, 16, here's the plan, Dad. I'm going to stay in school until I get signed by WWE. That was always what I said. I said, when I get signed, that's when I'll stop school. So I managed to go through high school, and at 18 I went to university. I was 21 years old. My last year at university, I got signed. My last year at university, this is a bold statement considering nobody from Scotland's ever been signed by WWE, but I believed it that much. And that's the lesson I tell everybody. You have to believe it yourself enough. And I believed it 100%. And when I was 21, I was the first ever guy to get signed in my last year at university. Then I went straight from university, straight over to America, but the deal was always stay in school, and we'll support you.
And you did stay in school, so you have that. You have the wrestling. I'm curious, did you play any other sports when you were younger?
I played a bit of soccer, because that's the big sport, and for the rest of the world, basically everyone but America, but the UK, the big sport is soccer. So I played that for a while, but it was always wrestling. It was the only thing I really cared about, and plus I was too bloody big. I kept getting sent off all the time, like yellow cards and red cards, because people kept knocking themselves out, running into me.
See, I thought rugby would be great for you.
Yeah, I just never really was interested in it. Like, I watch it on television, but it was just never anything that really interested me. I love football, but it was, for me, physically doing something, it was always wrestling. As far back as I can remember. I know everybody says that story. Oh, I always liked about wrestling. Like, if you ask anybody that I grew up with, I was Drew the wrestler since as far back as I can remember. I was really that obsessed.
Well, NXT Champion, Drew McIntyre, you're an inspiration, being able to do what you do, and getting, obviously, a second chance here with WWE. Thanks for spending so much time here for this interview, and I'll leave you with this. Now, England, what do you miss most? I'm sure you're acclimated to America, you've been here and all, but what do you miss most about Scotland and England?
The biggest thing is, family and friends. I've been here for about 10 years now, so I'm kind of used to the American way. I'm used to my food being available 24 hours, and I'm used to the sunshine of Tampa and palm trees rather than cold and wet all year. But I definitely miss the people, and I miss the scenery and the history, which is weird because when I grew up there, I couldn't give two craps about the scenery and history. But when you move away, you realize how special, Scotland is and the history we have. And I've really been researching the past 10 years. There's a lot of places I want to visit that were literally on my doorstep. I could have looked at my whole life, but I really want to go back and start checking out some historical places with the wife, first chance I get.
Well, if you get a chance, everyone, go see NXT. Obviously, it's a great brand. And you got to check out NXT champ Drew McIntyre. Drew, thank you so much.
No, thank you for having us. And yeah, if anybody's not checked out NXT before, I can't put us over enough, not just because it's my job as champion, because I've seen all the